Hi, my name is Yunior Reyes, and I am portraying James. James is somebody who's inherently competitive. Um, we all know that guy who likes to talk to a lot of women and sees it as more as a competition, see how much people he can talk to or vibe with. Rob, you know nothing about women, huh? You best stay out of this one, buddy.
Man, every year you try to compete with Jay, and it's the same end result.
Not this time. You remember Big Booty Judy from up the block?
Yeah, and
Check this out.
Wow. Jay's leftovers.
Something a little bit more deeper if you really get into it, especially when it comes to men like that. But James, I think he's deeper than what he lets on, but he's very shallow when it comes to his dealing with women. I feel like he's at the stage where he's still needs to get that emotional maturity. But obviously, I can relate to it because when I was younger, um, I was trying to talk to a lot of women and thought that was like a metric of how much of a man I was. But looking back on it now, it's just sort of emotional immaturity. Not that there's anything wrong with being promiscuous, um, but I think, yeah, I think James is at a stage in his life where I don't think he'll be there. Which is the same thing with me when I was a kid, when I was a little bit younger. Maybe it's taking him just a little bit too long. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of men can relate to James in that sense, where they see one side of it, where he's being competitive with Jay, and then once you get a little bit older, a little bit more mature, uh, you see how immature it is, basically. My favorite scene is just so many. I'll give you two. My favorite is the intro. Is one of the most beautiful things I've seen as far as like in a film, especially a New York film, because he brings in beautiful outside shots, especially of Brooklyn, where you get to see that Brooklyn itself is a character in the actual film. But my second, I would say, is the funniest. It's where Tokyo was with Tokyo. um, he said, "This shit sound like you to." My favorite character, I would say Kay, because she masterminded and was able to, maybe, in my opinion, change Jay's perspective on things, especially on love, and maybe not James. I don't think he got too much of a lesson from it. I think Jay had it the worst, but in turn, he learned the most because of Kay. So I feel like she's my favorite character, at least. As far as like what I hope, obviously, is to continue to see the inspiration that you've gotten throughout like other filmmakers. But also, as far as like a plot, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be with Jay or James or whatever the case. Maybe it could be with Jay providing his perspective on somebody new. Maybe being a mentor with having a mentee, or maybe seeing it, having the film from the women's perspective from now instead of like the from Jay's perspective. Yeah.